With over 400 celebrity interviews and tons of pop culture nerdiness, Too Opinionated is a safe haven for your inner geek. Find us at meistercon.com or on YouTube under MeisterCon Pod. And please subscribe. It would really help us out. Thanks, everybody. Hi, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Too Opinionated. I'm so excited today. I've got actress Helena Alexis Seymour with me. So welcome, Helena Alexis.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. Pleasure to be
Which
here.
I just found out was Greek.
Yes, I'm half Greek. Helena Alexis is the Greekest name you could have ever named your child. So yeah, half Greek, proud of it.
It does sound kind of like if you were watching a rom-com, that sounds like one of the characters' names.
I love that. Let's put that out to the universe and manifest. Yeah. Yes.
I mean, we've had a few movies that took place in Greece.
Mm-hmm.
We can do that. You know, you have a woman in Greece. She moves to the States, falls in love. For whatever reason, she has to go back to Greece. So they have to split up, and then, it works out at the end.
Okay. I feel like Troy is also based on the story of Helena of Troy from Greece.
Yeah.
But I have not.
Absolutely.
So.
Yeah. Well, I grew up reading those stories and stuff. They're so good. So it's been fun as I've grown up seeing some of that get to the movie screen.
Yeah.
And they've made some of those kind of ancient Greek tales into actual movies, and you can follow. If you read the stories, they're a little confusing, a little tough to follow sometimes, but you watch it on screen. There you go.
There you go. It's the visual effect that helps.
Yeah. Yeah. And I've found that apparently I'm kind of a visual learner, as a lot of us are, I think. But I don't necessarily have to do it, but I need to see it.
Okay. So if you're reading a book, you like to see the pictures to understand what's happening.
Yeah, book, I don't know. Book's a little different. I can read and see it in my head.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I think, but if I'm trying to learn something, I do better if I can actually see it than just read it.
Okay. Yeah.
I figured that out because I'm lousy at putting things together. So following directions, terrible. Give me a picture. Give me a picture with some arrows. I can probably do it.
So the IKEA diagrams, that works because they do show you little.
Yeah, those I can handle. But if you just write it out, I guess I'm handing it to my wife because I can't. Well, so let's start this way. Tell me a little bit about what got you into acting. Why'd you want to become an actress?
So it's actually an interesting story. When I grew up, I was extremely shy and just hid behind my parents' leg all the time and didn't communicate at all. Very introverted.
Yeah, me too. I always tell people I'm an introvert. You may not be able to tell it on the podcast, but in my heart, that's what I am.
Exactly. And it's interesting because a lot of introverts are in show business.
I know, that surprised me when I found that out.
So whenever I was young, although being shy and introverted, I would put on little plays in my basement for my parents and do like dance routines and skits. And it was just something fun for me to do, to come out of my shell.
Yeah.
They were like, I wonder if we put her in like actual dance classes or beauty pageants, that maybe this will help her come out of her shell further. And it did. So being on stage.
That's just good parenting.
I know. Thank God. Thank God they did that. So being on stage, actually, I felt like I had the permission to speak.
Yeah.
Then that basically led into acting. There was a convention in New York City called the IMTA convention that I tried out for. And it was an international convention. Agents and managers from all around the world came down. And actually, it's happening again next week. And I'm now being invited down as an alumni.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So it's like full circle. It feels so good to go back. So that was my first taste of acting and modeling. And then I booked my first commercial when I was 9 for Post Golden Raisin Crisp cereal, which doesn't exist anymore, but it was
I remember it.
Okay. Yellow box. Yeah. So that was my first time on set. And I was like, they're paying me to have fun like this on set? Like, this is cool. So that's when I realized, okay, acting is something I really love to do and I want to focus on and pursue. And I started speaking more and becoming more confident because I had no friends in school. Like, I was not only introverted, but I was bullied because I grew up in a small little town of Canada, Cornwall, Ontario, and I was one of 3 ethnic kids at my school. So different and standing out. They were like, "Who is this girl? She's an easy target. Let's just pick on her."
Isn't that terrible that it's that way?
Oh, the worst. I was looking inward. So gratefully, like it had me find God inside because I was like, why are they making fun of me? Because I don't feel black. Like I don't feel
Right.
mixed and I don't know that my nose is flat. Like that, I don't feel that way. So why is that a problem? I feel normal. And so I started asking myself the question, who am I? And started getting all these like spiritual questions out there. And as a kid, then I started getting into spirituality and reading all these books and now discovering why we're on this planet and astrology and yoga. And now I'm like this big hippie.
I love that. Yeah, it led to a whole thing.
It's a whole thing, but it was because of these kids. And I was like, oh, but why? Like, I don't even know who Helena Alexis is. And they're making fun of this person. Like, I didn't choose my name. Like, who? And then I was asking my parents, like, who am I? They're like, well, you're Helena Alexis. I'm like, but I don't know who that is.
They do.
I do now, but it was a whole thing from like kindergarten. So that long story of how I got into acting and how I also became to find myself. And I feel like it goes together because that's how I had that communication with my inner voice and my inner instincts. And that helps me on set because that's what you need when you're on set is to communicate with your inner voice and your instincts and intuition.
Well, yeah, you have to believe in yourself and have some confidence in yourself because a lot of times other people aren't going to give you that. So you got to kind of work that up yourself.
I realized that very young. Yep.
Have you been to a high school reunion?
Not yet. I can't wait till we have one.
I kind of thought. Yeah.
Yeah. The closest thing I did get to is when I was in high school. So I moved from the small town of Cornwall to Ottawa in my senior year. So yeah, so I only had 2 credits left. So I decided, well, I'm going to homeschool English. Finally, I could homeschool. And my final credit, I was doing co-op, so you can like work at a business and get a credit.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I still, for some reason, wanted to graduate with the kids I grew up with because why not? Like I spent my whole life with you. I'd rather have the yearbook with your face in it next to mine versus some new kids that I've never met before.
Sure, so, it makes sense.
And also the schools in Ottawa weren't accepting me for 2 credits. And I'm not about to take 4 credits when I don't need to. I'm almost done with school. I can't wait.
That last semester, you get senioritis. It's tough to get through anyway, so you don't want to be adding work to it.
No. So I decided to do that. And everyone back in my high school in Cornwall thought when I left for Ottawa that I was gone for good. So when I showed up, because I did my stuff online and my co-op, and I showed up to prom and graduation, they were like, what? You're back? And I was like, yo, guess who's back? So that was the closest I ever got to a reunion because there was quite a few months in between and I was doing acting and modeling in between that. And so it was a nice little surprise for them to see me again.
Yeah, and it probably didn't feel terrible either.
No. And I brought like the most beautiful male model as my prom date.
Oh, nice.
Yes, because I didn't have a boyfriend, but I was like, my parents own a modeling agency. And I was like, Mom, who's like the hottest guy for me to bring as my date? And they're like, oh, you should bring Joel. I'm like, great. This is your next modeling gig.
I was going to say, did Joel know that he was a prop?
Yeah. I told him straight. I was like, and we're friends. I was like, Joel, do you mind like just being my date and like being the hottest couple in this prom? He's like, let's do it. I'm like,
great. Good for Joel.
He's awesome.
Yeah, that's I completely get that because it's so difficult. If you're in a school and you don't feel like you fit in, and then if people start treating you like you don't fit in, it can really mess with your psyche a little bit.
Yes, absolutely. And gratefully, like when we moved to Ottawa, there's so many more ethnics.
Yeah.
And my parents had modeling agencies, so I became friends with the models and they were ethnics in the agency. And so I finally felt like I had friends and I fit in. So the confidence grew slowly, but it grew. Yeah. So by the time I did go to prom with Joel, I was flying high, and they saw that. They're like, "Who's this new Helena? Like, this is not who we grew up with." And I was like, "Exactly. People change."
Yeah, you guys were holding me back.
Exactly.
I don't want to point any fingers, but
Yeah, exactly. I would love a reunion. I'd love to see what they're up to.
Yeah, reunions are pretty fun. I've had way too many of them at this point,
Okay.
but they're fun. They're
Yeah.
fun. We would this year would be our 35th since I
Okay.
got out of high school. So we haven't had anything yet, but at some point this summer we'll get together. We're kind of to that point now. We just, instead of doing the, like the ballroom and making a weekend of it, we just pick a night and get as many of us as we can together and kind of do it that way.
Okay, so it's not the school that puts it on, it's the students.
Yeah, here it is.
Okay.
It's the students that put it on. Now it's not always that way. Like my where my mother graduated, her high school doesn't exist anymore.
Okay.
But the Board of Education is still there, and they put on the reunion, but it's like an all-class reunion every year.
Okay.
They do it that way, where we just kind of do. We're always kind of a tight-knit group as a class, so we just get together.
Oh, that's nice.
Each year on our own, and definitely on the 5 years. But yeah. So I've been lucky in some ways because I've been in West Virginia my whole life. So the people that I grew up with, I'm still friends with because they're still here.
Yeah, that's it.
And that's rare. You don't get that, but there's probably 30 or 40 people I graduated with that are within a few miles of me. Okay. So, yeah. But
10 years.
If I had a chance to take like a good-looking model to prom, I probably would have done that.
Why not, right?
Not that my prom date, she listens to the podcast, so I better bring it up, but she was a beautiful, beautiful girl, is a beautiful woman, has a great family, all that good stuff. But, back then, if I could have got the model, I probably would have done
that. Book them on a job. It's a job.
It's a job. So we got to talk about Chronicles of Jessica Wu. Are we on the second season? Is that the one we're doing now?
Well, it's the second season for me, but for this show, it's our third season.
Oh, it's the third season. Yeah. So this is one that my daughter watches, and her daughter watches, although her daughter's a little young. So she likes like the outfits and some of the fancy maneuvers. But she doesn't really understand what's going on. She's just 3. She's just 3. But that's one that I've actually watched and enjoyed because I think it's really interesting because like the martial arts in it are pretty well done.
Oh,
pretty well done.
Thank you. We put a lot of work into our stunt training, so I appreciate that.
Yeah, you do such a great job, and the show I think is so unique. I love the fact that it's taking somebody that has some issues and it's putting them in a situation where they're the hero.
Yeah. Exactly. So appreciate you watching.
Yeah, I love it. And you're so good in it.
Thank you. So I actually came on the second season as the new Jessica. So although we have 3 seasons, they replaced the old Jessica with me, and I'm happy to be there. I love being part of the Jessica Wu family. So yes.
Did you get to meet the old Jessica?
No.
Okay.
Long gone before. I met everyone else though. The entire cast was at my audition though.
Oh wow! No pressure.
Yeah, no, exactly. And luckily I watched the whole first season before my audition. So when I walked in, I recognized them. I'm like, oh, I know you and you and you. So I went over the room before I even had the audition. They're like, oh, you did your research. I was like, yeah, of course.
Yeah, that's smart because you don't want to go in there and not know anything about it.
Right.
That's that you don't want to go in and look unprepared. So yeah, that's smart.
Right.
Did they participate at all in the audition, or were they just there watching?
They were there watching, and they were casting. So the casting director there wasn't a casting director. They were the casting directors.
Oh, geez.
We 5 of them. So there was one of the cast, she was an actress. Then you had the director, producer, and the assistant producer. 4 of them. Yeah. And they're all in the show as well. So the producers are actually actors in the show too.
Okay.
So it's like, oh.
I mean, on the plus side, if they choose you, which they did, you already know that you're in with them.
That's the thing. So I already felt like family immediately, which was really nice.
Yeah. Did you train in martial arts beforehand, or was it new to you when you got to the show?
So the audition said they had whoever was auditioning had to have any kind of martial arts background. And about 2 years prior, I started kickboxing because I was trying to manifest a role where I had to use this kickboxing skill. My dad is from the Bahamas, so my mom is Greek, my dad's Caribbean, and he's a professional bodybuilder. And so, exactly. So when I was born, he was saying, so my daughter, she's going to be a bodybuilder too. I'm going to have her in the gym and she's going to be a professional bodybuilder just like her daddy. And I was like, Dad, he did have me in the gym from 10 years old, like teaching me, squats and
that's good.
Yeah. So I really do enjoy working out. But I started to realize that I'm not going to be a bodybuilder, but maybe I'll kick some ass on screen. So that's how I got into kickboxing, because he also loves watching WWE and we watch wrestling together. It's a very enjoyable, although it's fake, I do love watching. It's entertainment.
It's fun.
It is fun. And I did work on the WWE once, like back in the day for WrestleMania X8. So that was a little dream come true for both of us, because he came and he got to bring me to set. So he got to meet some wrestlers and I was like, okay, Dad, I did this for you.
That's pretty great.
So cool. So when I started kickboxing, I was like, okay, so I'm not being a bodybuilder. I'm not going to be a wrestler, but I will be some kind of like maybe Angelina Jolie, Tomb Raider.
I like that.
That's my favorite actress. So I was telling my sensei, like, listen, Sylvana, and she's all about like manifesting and very spiritual. I'm like, we need to manifest a role where I can use my stunt skills. She's like, you got it. I'm going to put out to the universe with you. So every time I go and train, we'd be like almost praying. It would be a ceremony. And then 2 years later, I got the audition and booked the job and went and had to train. Like we were doing stunt skills and like I was going out of town. So they were videotaping the stunts and sending it to me. So I had her watch the video and train me for the show. And I was like, look at how this came full circle. Like now I'm having you train me for the show. And she was like, we did this. Like we did this. I'm so happy. So yeah. So yes, I have martial arts training and kickboxing background.
Don't you think that there's something to putting positive thoughts out into the universe? It does seem to come back around at some point if you do that.
Oh, I absolutely believe it. I believe that when people pray, it's not that you're supposed to be asking God or the universe for something. You should be thanking God for what you already have or what you hope to have. It's like the secret. Like you already have to act like you have it and live it. And then your vibration becomes that. So then the universe has nothing else to do except deliver it to you. You're already living it. You might as well have it. So,
because the reverse is also true.
Exactly.
If you're negative thoughts out there, it's probably not going to end very well.
Right. So positive vibes always. High vibes.
Yeah. I agree with that. Yeah. My son, who does podcasts with me, there was a time when he was younger where he was way into WWE. I mean, just so into it. And I loved it. We travel around and go to some of the shows. We watch all the events. Back then you had to pay for the pay-per-views. Now you can watch them on Peacock now, but we loved it. Well, then at some point he grew out of it. And it about killed me. I was like, I kind of miss it.
Oh, I love it. Anytime I visit my family, I'm always watching it with my dad, like Monday Night Raw, Sunday Night Heat, whatever. I love Triple H, although
there's some good acting on there.
So good. So believable. They're great. They need Academy Awards. But I love some WWE.
Yeah, that was my son. He was Triple H. He was big on him and Shawn Michaels. And I was always Randy Orton. That was the one I kind of liked.
All right. Undertaker's cool too. A little creepy, but I do like the Undertaker.
Yeah, pretty good. Yeah, it's been a few years now, so like I occasionally I'll glance at it or whatever. I don't recognize anybody anymore.
They're all children.
I know, they're so young. I'm like, where'd the old guys go?
I know. The Rock. Well, now they're acting.
Yeah, well, that's true. A lot of them went into The Miz. The Miz is acting now, and John Cena. And
Yeah. Stone
yeah,
Cold Steve Austin. Yeah.
yeah. Although he came back, I watched one where he came back last year. Came
Okay.
back to the ring, and he still looked pretty good.
Okay. He kept his shape.
Yeah, kept in shape. He was supposedly there just to do an interview, but he ended up fighting.
Would love
Of course.
Yeah. I love it. That's cool.
So in season 3, can we expect anything new for your character? Is there any surprises for the new season?
We finally find out who murdered my father. So
that's a big deal.
That's a huge deal because in season 2 we were trying to figure it out. Season 3 we finally find out. Because David Wu and Jessica, like David Wu taught Jessica all her martial arts. He raised her. He took her under his wing. And so that became her father. And when he also had the restaurant, which he gave to her, and that's how she also came more out of her shell from being so shy and introverted as an autistic human. When he was murdered, it crushed her. Like she was already alone in the world with her actual birth parents, like her mother passed away and her father is just abusive. So when he passed away, it was like, who's left? She had to basically survive on her own. And so she made a mission to find out who killed him. And in season 3, we find out.
That's pretty exciting.
Yeah.
Pretty exciting. Yeah. Have you gotten positive feedback? Because, thankfully, there's shows out there now that are portraying autism in a positive way. Have you gotten any positive feedback from your portrayal?
Yeah, actually, even random people find me on Facebook and just send me DMs like, wow, you've really inspired my son who has autism. He feels like he's a superhero now and he's more confident, and just that. Beautiful messages that touch my heart. Yes, so definitely.
It's interesting as we're finding more and more out about the human brain. In the past, autism has been looked at it's more like a handicap, but that's not really the case. I mean, it can be at times, but it can also, it be something almost like a superpower in some cases.
Exactly. It's a ability.
That's right. You're right.
Yeah.
My stepson's got Asperger's, and he's got a family of his own now, and it took us a few years to kind of figure out how to communicate correctly with him. But once we did, I mean, he just took off. Right. And there's certain things where it's just amazing the things that he can do. Now he'll struggle with some things, but then he's got areas like he's musical. He can pick up any instrument, learn to play it within a couple of minutes. It's amazing. And some of that stuff, you're just like, how does that happen? To me, it seems almost like a superpower when you do that. So to actually portray somebody out there kicking butt and doing good things, that's a terrific role model, I think, for kids to see, because they need to see people that are like them on TV.
That's what I've been saying, especially when I was a kid. Like, I didn't see many Black female leads. They were always Caucasian. So, like, why? Like, Saved by the Bell, Lisa Turtle, she was not the lead. It was Kelly Kapowski. So to be the Black, not only Black, she's light skinned, so she's mixed, which is even more unique. And she has autism. So it's like checking off all these boxes of a lead character that's powerful and is superhuman that we don't have on television.
Well, so she's a woman, which is also fairly new.
Yes. So tick, 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 like anyone that felt alone or didn't feel powerful or felt like they were always the side character in life, because that's what they see on television, you're not. You're really, truly powerful in every single way. And I'm so grateful that I have this honor of portraying that, to be a role model for those children.
I love that. Yeah, I love that. I mean, what a great show, and what a great role. I think that's really cool. Hopefully it lasts for several more seasons.
I hope so too.
Yeah. 3 seasons anymore. That's a pretty good run.
Yeah. And we covered quite a bit, but there's more to go. Like the director, writer, producer, he left us on a cliffhanger for season 3. So I was like, Zane, you could write some more. He's like, yeah, I could.
Already working on it. Yeah, that's pretty great. Did I see you? You have to tell me, because I'm going by memory, but didn't you have a role in that XXX movie?
I did.
What was the role? Because I just can't. I can see you in my head in the movie, but I can't really recall what the role was.
So I shot that a few years ago. I can't even remember the name of the character. Her real name is Hannah, but her character name is not coming to me. I'm one of her crew. So yes. So we come and we basically seduce Xander to do what we would like him to do in the film. It's right at the top of the movie.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah. So I'm not going to give it away because I can't say if we won or if he kind of understood what we were trying to manipulate him with, but that's my character. I'm part of part of the crew. There's like 5 other females.
That's pretty. Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Well, I know you played a reporter on Birdman.
Yeah,
you've been in some big movies.
Huge, and it's funny because Birdman almost didn't happen. That was filmed in Montreal. I'm like I said, I don't know if I said I'm Canadian.
Yes.
Okay. So I was living in Ottawa, Ontario at the time, and Montreal is about a 2-hour drive.
Okay.
And I had a chemistry read for this other television show called 19-2. I was very close on booking it. So I went to read with my opposite boyfriend. And the casting director that sent me to that audition, well, the chemistry read, knew that I was in town for the day and called my agent and said, "Oh, I have this last minute audition. Can Helena come in at 7 p.m.?" And meanwhile, I was in Montreal at like noon. I'm like, really? I'm going to hang out 7 hours? Like, what am I going to do all day? Okay, sure. Tell her I'm available and I'll just have a really long lunch and then go to this last minute audition. I'm in town. Why not?
Yeah.
So I did that. Went. They didn't send me any sides, nothing, no breakdown, no information. I just showed up as is. And the sides that they gave me was just like something that they wrote down. It wasn't even a professional thing. They're like, just say this and see how it goes. And there was 4 of us. So me, another female, and 2 guys. And that's when I realized, oh, this last minute audition is literally someone, the casting director handpicked, like, I guess her favorites or whoever she thought would fit.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, grateful. Knew I was in town. Had I not been in town, this would have never happened. So it was between me and another female because they needed a female and a male. So I got to read with one of the males and then we swapped and I read with the other male. And then they decided like which couple would book the role. And the thing was, they're like, it's filming tomorrow. I'm like, but it's 7 o'clock right now. And like, I didn't bring clothes for tomorrow. I don't have an overnight bag and I live 2 hours away. I'm like, what should I do? Because if they call me tonight, then what if the call time's in the morning? It's like, oh my gosh, okay. So I'm just going to trust God. I'm going to leave it all to God. I'm going to just go back to Ottawa and whatever happens, happens. It'll be fine. So I went back to Ottawa and the next day I didn't hear from them. So I'm like, okay, I didn't book it. That's fine. So I was going on with my day. I had work to do. And then later in the afternoon, they called and they're like, you booked the job, but it's filming the next day. I was like, okay, so I'm not filming today, so I have a day. But the next day, I already had plans to be on set on another film in Ottawa. Who booked me like 3 months prior? Like,
actor problems.
Best problem to have, though. So my agent was like, well, and telling the casting director, like, she can't do this job because she already made commitments to this other film in Ottawa. And the casting was like, no, you don't understand. Like, this is a very important movie. Still didn't tell us the name of it or anything. Just said it's important. So she's like, let me make some phone calls and see, what I could do. So she calls the director, Alejandro Iñárritu, and he said that he was willing to buy me out of the Ottawa film to just have me do his film. And my agent was like, that's cool. But like, again, we can't do that because she booked this 3 months prior. Like, we tell them the day before she can't be on set. So like, listen, the film in Montreal is filming early in the morning. The one in Ottawa was filming at like 4 p.m. It's like, maybe I can pull off doing both. We'll just
It's a busy day.
Pull it, like, again, leave it to God and see what happens. So we confirmed both. And I went to Montreal like that night so I could be there in the morning, and we filmed it in the morning. When I was on set in my trailer getting my makeup done, I saw Michael Keaton's picture on the makeup artist's table. And I was like, oh, did you do his makeup recently? Or like, is he in this movie? And the makeup artist is like, yeah, like I was on set in some other film last night till 4 a.m, but I wouldn't miss this to work with this director and this casting crew. And I was like, what? I still don't have the script. Like all they gave me was like my 1 page of sides and it had nothing on it except my lines. I'm like, let me go on IMDb. I'm sure it's already on IMDb. And I checked and then I was like, oh, wow. This is an all-star cast.
Yeah, big film.
The director is huge. I'm like, I get it now. I'm so grateful that I did this and that the world the synchronicities of me being in Montreal for that chemistry read and showing up and the tests that the universe gave me, like, are you going to stay for 7 hours? Are you going to do it? Are you going to come in the morning and see if you could pull out? It was like all these tests to see because it was so heavy that the universe really was testing me to see like if I really wanted it.
Right.
Like you said, you want to be an actor? Let's see.
Let's see.
So I actually ended up filming both because I wrapped just in time that I made it back to Ottawa, driving really quickly. It's fine.
I won't tell.
And I made it and I was able to actually pull off both somehow. So it all worked out.
That's amazing.
And then it ended up winning 4 Academy Awards.
Yeah.
What? Yeah. Why?
Yeah, now he's back as Batman.
I know, and I love Batman. He was my favorite Batman.
He's everybody's favorite Batman.
I mean, I hope so, because he was the best one, in my opinion.
I think so too. Yeah, we're going to see Flash tomorrow night, I think.
Cool.
Check it out.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll see. Even if the movie's not very good, it's going to be worth it just to see him in the the Bat outfit again.
He had the best voice. Like he's just the best. Yeah.
Yeah. I always liked his attitude with it. Because they'll ask him, what do you, who's your Batman? He's like, I'm Batman. He's like, I show up, I'm Batman.
Exactly. He just is. He just is. Yes. Love Michael Keaton.
Yeah, me too. You've shown up on a lot of nerdy shows that we've watched through the years. Like you had a role on Warehouse 13.
Yes.
And there was is it Being Human or Almost Human?
No,
Being Human. Being Human, yeah. Yeah, we really liked that show, but you had a little appearance on that too.
I did. And actually, when I booked / auditioned for Warehouse 13, that was another one where they wanted me to be like this bodybuilder type character. So I was like, Dad, I got you. I'm going to book this role because, like I said, I'm not going to actually be a bodybuilder, but I'm happy to play one on set.
Yeah. So, if you're in shape, you could totally do that.
Exactly. So that was another little thing that I did for my dad and got to show my physique. So Being Human as well, I was a vampire and I loved filming that. That was incredible. Yeah. I love sci-fi shows. Yeah. That
was a surprisingly very well done show.
Mm-hmm.
When I first saw it when it came out, I was like, I don't know if I would enjoy it. But then when I watched it, really good. Like they did a really good job with it.
Yeah. Great show.
And you got to take it if you're going to get to be a vampire. You got to do that.
Well, yeah. At least once in your life, everyone wants to play a vampire. Yes.
Yeah. You should do a whole show just on a Greek Caribbean vampire. I'd watch that.
Oh, cool! That's a great idea.
I'd watch that.
All right.
We need to write that.
We're manifesting. Yes.
Only if we can have a gym scene where your dad's in there like bench pressing or something, just in the back.
Give him a cameo role. Yeah. That would be so cool. I'm sure he'd love that. Yes.
Yeah, that's pretty. Does he still compete?
He doesn't compete. No, he just likes to keep it straight. But it's funny because he works out maybe once every 2 weeks, but he's still got his shape. I'm like, how?
Because he did it for years, I assume. He just can't keep it.
He does. Like the most working out he does is yard work. Like he's building fence right now around the house. I'm like, is that how you do your squats? Like bend down and do my big, like you're in great shape still.
There's some advantages to having somebody in the family like that because those type of like maneuvers, they're not real easy to do, especially if you don't have the form right. So if you're deadlifting or squats and stuff, if you're doing them right, they can be really great. If you're not, it can screw you up.
Oh yeah, mess up your back, whole bunch of injuries, especially lifting heavy weights. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, deadlifts was probably the best thing that I ever learned how to do because I never had back problems after that.
Yeah, strengthening your back.
Strengthened it up. I used to have some back trouble, but once I kind of actually learned how to deadlift and did it regularly, no more trouble.
Exactly. People just brush off weightlifting and they think, oh, it's nothing, but actually it can help you in the long run, strengthen your bones, strengthen your muscles, everything.
I think it helps you a lot as you age.
Exactly.
I mean, I don't like to go so far that it tears up my joints and stuff, So as I get older, I've lightened up on the weights, but I'm still doing it because just the movement is so good for you.
So important.
When my dad still goes with me, and he's 83.
That's so
he's great. He's still in there lifting weights and stuff. I think that's pretty good.
No, you need to. It's great for your mind too, to keep it active. Absolutely.
Well, and older people too, they need that interaction because it gets them out around people and stuff. And even if they're not actively talking with people, just being around other people. A lot of times, older people, they get stuck at home, and
I agree.
And that's when their health declines.
That's when you
stop interacting. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. I think that's why 2020 was so rough on some people. They were stuck at home.
That's it.
And you don't get around family and stuff, and you end up aging.
Yeah. Or having mental health issues or depression.
Yeah. I'm sure depression was bad that year for a lot of people.
Oh yeah. Especially in the colder climate cities,
Did you pick up a skill in 2020 while you were stuck at home?
I learned how to write.
Really? I mean, I know a lot of people say, yeah, I wrote with that. And I was like, yeah, but what did you write?
No, before even that pandemic hit, I was like trying to learn how to write.
Yeah.
So then when it hit, I live in a community where it's kind of closed off and there's a lot of people that live here. So just walking my dog, I crossed paths with this guy and we started talking and I was like, oh, what do you do? And he's like, I'm a writer. I was like,
I want to be a writer.
We're going to be friends. So then the pandemic hit like 3 weeks later and we started hanging out and we started writing a script together. So although I was already trying to learn how to write, meeting a writer really showed me how to write. So it worked out perfectly. Yeah.
There is some skill to it. A lot of people think you can just sit down and start writing, and some people can. Sure. But most of us, we need some, exercises and some tricks to get there.
Yeah, we were using flashcards. We were using vision board. Well, not vision boards, but like, the boards where you just use the marker and start writing stuff. What do you call them? Blackboards.
Well, did you? Yeah. Did you finish? Have you finished the book or the script? Is it a book or a script?
It's a script. It was a short film. We broke up before we finished.
Oh no.
But I still have the script. So technically I could still finish it. Just I don't want him to come after me, So instead, I took all the knowledge that he taught me and now I'm writing something completely different on my own.
Yeah.
So
that's too bad.
It is.
That's too bad. But that's all right. You got something positive out of it. Now you know how to write.
Exactly. And I was praying for it. So thank you for introducing me to a writer, God. But,
there you go.
Things happen.
Well, I've given you the idea. So now you just need to write the vampire book.
That's it.
For the script. We want that as a movie, I think.
It's a movie. It's a feature film. Yeah.
I think so too.
Yeah.
I think I'd watch that.
Okay, sweet. I love that I already have someone ready to buy their film ticket.
You've got one. You're not going to get shut out. So you've got at least one fan ready to go.
Amen. Thank you. I'll search the page. We'll get it going.
Do you have any ambition at some point to step behind the camera?
I actually am a photographer.
Okay.
So I have played behind the camera. Out of high school, I was playing behind the camera and doing photo shoots with actors. So I do have that knowledge of behind the camera. But as in film and television, Jessica Wu season 3, I helped produce season 3. So I helped with the casting and with like the final editing. We had a Zoom meeting, we did the editing. So yes, I have knowledge behind the camera and I do really enjoy it.
Yeah, that's a lot of hats though, if you're actually acting at the time.
Yes, I'm a Gemini. I mean, I naturally wear a lot of hats.
That's true. That's true.
We're just
Yeah. You tend to be type A type of personalities.
Yeah. So I love having a lot on my plate. It keeps my mind active.
Yeah, there's something to be said about that. See, I'm kind of different with that is that I have to have that downtime. I don't mind being busy, but at some point I need that downtime where I can just decompress.
Right.
Where like my wife, she's opposite of that. She's very type A. And if she gets downtime, she easily gets kind of down. She has to stay busy to stay happy.
Yeah. I mean, I'm okay with a little bit of downtime, but if it's too much, then I'm like, well, what am I doing with my life? Like, I freak out. Like, I need to do something.
She will run us ragged, and then I'll sit down and we'll watch a show or a couple shows or something. And after a couple hours, she's like, all we're doing is sitting around. I was like, what are you talking about? We've been running all week. Let me watch a show.
What's her zodiac sign?
Let's see. I'm a Scorpio.
Okay.
She's the one before that. Is that Virgo?
No, before that would be Libra.
Okay, she's Libra.
Libra. Okay, another fellow air sign. Okay, love it.
Yeah, she's Libra. Yeah, I can't keep up with her.
Yeah.
So I learned early on, just let her go.
Yeah, exactly. Just leave them. Yeah.
That's where and now I'm going into, couple advice, but this my advice as a couple, because you see a lot of couples that they try to do everything together, which is fine if they're similar interests. Sure. But if you're not, you got to have that. You got to be able to separate.
I agree.
Yeah, you can do a little bit of it together because you're a couple, but let each other kind of do what they like and then come back together much happier.
I agree.
I see a lot of that where you have one is dragging the other one along, and you can tell they don't like that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And that usually doesn't end well.
No, you need to be happy on your own, have your own interests, come together if you need to, and then have your own life separately.
That's it. I think that's what works best for us anyway. That works because we love spending time together.
Sure.
But it's that time apart, I think, is the biggest reason, because we miss each other. So then when we're together, we enjoy it.
That's it. Yeah. You need that little bit of missing each other.
I think so. Yeah. Then you can appreciate each other.
Exactly. Exactly.
I hope we should do a podcast just on relationship advice.
I love it. I hope the next guy that I come across or that we date feels the same way.
Well, if he doesn't, call me. I'll talk to him.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I know you will too. You're a Scorpio. You'll get right to it.
I'll get right to it.
Yeah.
Well, that's one thing with Scorpios. We're pretty direct.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. We don't dance around it too much.
Oh no.
I always say that too. That's how I like to be communicated to as well. Don't hint. Just say what you need or what you want from me, and more than likely you'll get it. Exactly. But if you hint at it, I'm probably going to miss it.
Right. Because Scorpio is very black and white. That's why it's Halloween. I study astrology, so I know all about you and all the signs. Yeah.
Okay. See, when I'm having an issue, I'm going to call you and I'll be like, why am I having this issue?
Yeah. And I will tell you, I'm like, listen, you miss transiting your first house or whatever, you need to chill. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. This has been the best. I'm such a fan of yours. I think you're so talented with stuff. And now that I know that you actually can kick butt, I assumed that not everything on there was just you doing it. But it sounds like you can actually do the moves and stuff. That makes it even better.
Yeah, no stunts, no stunt stand-ins. I did my own stunts.
Yeah, that's impressive.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'd be able to do maybe one, and then they would either not ask me to do it again, or I would hurt myself and have to give.
With practice, I'm sure you can do it. You're already in the gym doing deadlifts. You can practice some high kicks.
Yeah, no. My high kick is very unimpressive. You got to be flexible. I'm not the most flexible.
That's it. And I have a yoga background, so that helped.
Yeah, I've been trying to do better with the yoga. I can get the basic poses, the warrior poses, or the downward dog, some of that stuff, but they get complicated quick.
Yes, and that's what
you got to have some good muscle control for yoga.
Yes, it's harder than it looks.
Yeah. Yeah, because people know how to do yoga. They make it look so easy. And then you try it and you're like, I can do that. And you usually can for a second or two, but then your body starts shaking.
Exactly. Yeah, they think yoga is just like holding a pose and deep breathing. They're like, but why are they in great shape? It's like, because we hold it. Try holding
Yeah.
that for 5 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a workout.
It sure is.
And I've never tried the hot yoga, but I'm
My
sure it makes it even more intense.
makes it easier too because it opens up your body quicker.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it
Yeah.
loosens you up.
Yeah, it loosens you up, definitely.
Hmm. The next time we interview or that we talk, we should do it while you're teaching me yoga.
I'd love that. I just
So
got
we
certified.
like do a move and
Yeah, yeah.
then I'll ask a question and we'll do a
Yes.
move.
Yeah, yeah. I'm down for that.
I
Very
don't know if it'd be a good interview, but it'd be entertaining.
People will watch just to see if we can make it through.
We used to do when we first started. My wife and I she was trying to teach me yoga, and we try that cat cow.
Yeah, basic. Yeah.
Well, she'd say, do cat or cow, whichever one it was,
Yeah.
and I'd be doing it as hard as I could, and she's like, nothing's moving. It's flat. I was like, what are you talking about? I'm like, I'm straining as hard as I can. My back would not move at all.
Wow.
So, I mean, it was just stiff. But then over, weeks and months, I actually was able to, you could see me do it a little bit. So it was good in that way because I was very stiff.
Yeah. And that's the warm-up pose we always start class with because that will loosen up the spine immediately. So
yeah, I do that one just before I go to the gym and stuff because it loosens you up before you do all the weight training.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. Well, Helena Alexis, this has been terrific. You have to come back. I think you're so talented. We got to do it again.
Thank you. I'd love to come back. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you're so welcome. Couple little things though before we wrap up. Anything else you're working on that we can keep an eye out for?
I have a film that just came out called Exceptional Beings. It's available
on I meant to ask you about that. That's with Eric Roberts, right?
Yeah. So
it's already he's a friend of ours.
Oh, cool. Yeah, so check it out and all your listeners can check it out. And then next Monday, I'm actually heading to a premiere for my newest film called Proof Sheet.
What's that one about?
So it's about a guy who works at a camera store and receives a roll of film that's very incriminating and basically shows a murder. So then he goes out on this quest to find out who killed this lady. And yeah, it's going to be fun to go to the premiere next week. I'm excited to watch the film.
Are you the killer or the victim?
You're going to have to watch and find out. How am I giving it away before it comes out? I can't do that.
You thought about it for a second, though.
I was about to give something away, but I was like, nah, he could wait.
I can wait. But that's exactly the type of film I would watch because it's like a murder mystery.
It is a murder mystery. It is. Yes.
Yeah, that's pretty great. Okay, so the last thing, where can we find you on social media?
At Helena Alexis across the board, Instagram, Facebook, everything. And make sure you got 2 A's, Helena Alexis. I'm
guessing there's not a ton of those on there.
No, actually. So you should be able to find me.
Yeah, you can. I know. I looked on Instagram. It came right up.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty good.
Doing when she named me, for sure.
I told you, I think it's very Hollywood name. So I think they did a good job.
You know, what's funny is they thought she was having twins because I was such a big baby. So she had 2 names picked out just in case. Then I became one 10-pound baby. And they're like, well, keep it. Helena-Alexis is great.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. Do you have a middle name in there somewhere too?
No, it's just Helena.
It's just, I like that. I like that. Because if you add in another middle name, then it might get a little unwieldy. That's too much.
It's too much. No, and Greeks usually don't give their kids middle names, so we don't have.
Really?
Yeah, it's not a thing.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, yeah.
Did you spend time in Greece at some point in your life?
I would visit a lot. My family and Turks and Caicos, but when I grew up, my first language was Greek. My mom spoke to me only Greek.
Oh yeah.
I'd go to the daycare and they'd have a little translation sheet. Like if she says gala, that means milk. Okay.
Oh yeah. I love it. Well, that's the time to learn when you're little. Mm-hmm. You can learn the different languages, and obviously you at least speak a couple now. So that's pretty great.
Yeah. So when I go back to Greece, I'm like, I can understand it a lot more than I speak because now I'm obviously all the way English, but I can definitely hold a conversation if you speak slowly in Greek. And if I'm in Greece, I could get by. So I'm grateful that that was my first language, because it's a very difficult language to learn. Very
Well,
difficult.
it's difficult when you hear it.
Yeah.
You know, it's because most languages you can kind of pick out certain words and stuff, but
Yeah.
it's Greek, you can't really do that.
Not at all. Like Spanish is similar to Portuguese, and French,
Yeah.
like pick it out. But Greek, it's like, whew, it's all
Yeah.
Greek to me.
Yeah, it's all good, but it's kind of fun to listen to, though.
Yeah, it is beautiful. I love it.
Well, thank you so much for coming on the show, and definitely anytime. Just when you have something, call me. We'll do it again.
Right on. Thanks so much for having me.
Oh, you're so welcome. Okay, hold on one second. Helena Alexis Seymour. It's the best. I knew she was going to be a fun interview. I think she's a really talented actress. Obviously, she can kick some ass. Really enjoyed that. I hope you did as well. She is so good as Jessica Wu in the Chronicles of Jessica Wu. So if you haven't seen that one yet, definitely check that out. I had forgotten that there was a different actress playing Jessica in the first season. The show's terrific, and it definitely doesn't lose anything from the first season to the second season. She steps in. It's at least as good as the first season, maybe better. She's really, really good. So definitely check her out there. I think we touched on just about everything that I wanted to. She mentioned The Exceptional Beings, where she's in with our buddy Eric Roberts. And of course, everybody knows Eric. He's such a prolific, talented actor. But she plays Detective Shelley in that. So that's terrific. We talked about her in Triple X, Return of Xander Cage, Birdman. She was in a role, or I think it was a film called Zombie at 17. She did have she played an officer on Beauty and the Beast. I meant to bring that one up. Let's see. And I think she may have played in a Christmas movie when she was younger. So I meant to ask her about that. A Diva's Christmas Carol. That was what it was. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. Please support her. She's terrific, just a wonderful person. You know, if you're finding us for the first time and you'd like to support us, we could definitely use the help. It's easy. It's free. All that we ask is that you subscribe. It's difficult as a podcast. There's 15 million of them out there. It's difficult to distinguish yourself. So when you go to get guests, you know, what can help with that is your subscriptions. If you can say, I can bring this audience with me, that helps to book these terrific guests that we keep getting on the show. So that's why I ask. Otherwise, I wouldn't bug you with it. But it would really help us out if you could subscribe. If you prefer to watch, it's YouTube, MeisterCon Pod. Just subscribe. If you prefer to listen, wherever you listen to your podcast at, subscribe there. That'll help us. Today, we posted episode 601. Really proud of that. You can find all of those audio and video on our website, meistercon.com. So definitely check us out there. It'll let you know anything we have going on. Thank you guys so much. Until next time. Bye, everybody.